Here's what I think most people are thinking, Devin. It's like, I had an agency that I just paid a certain amount to every month to do this for me, to get me ranked. I think a lot of people can relate to this feeling where it's like, I barely understood this in the first place, and now you're telling me I have to like completely throw all that out and relearn it again?
No, you don't have to throw it out. And part of that, it still comes into play. We don't throw away traditional SEO. But what we're saying now is that it's just having consistency for your brand online in order to rank you. What you need to focus on is your company, who you are, what you do, and where you do it, and saying it consistently over and over again everywhere on the web. It's not totally relearning. It's just a little bit of a more of a brand heavy approach.
You're watching the LeanScaper podcast, where landscapers come to grow. If you want the systems, stories, and strategies to build a lean, mission-driven company that your team loves working for, keep watching. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the LeanScaper podcast. I'm excited about today's conversation. I want today to be the start of a conversation, probably a few conversations that are going to unroll over the next few years, teaching you all how to start working with your marketing agency to modernize your SEO strategy for the age of AI and LLM search engine marketing. I want to make sure that you guys are brand aligned and visible as the way that people look for things and services online evolves, and it's happening fast. So I'm really lucky to be joined by Devon Hayes. She's the co-founder of Elevation Marketing. They're a marketing agency that focuses just on the home services niche. And I asked to have her on the show. We've collaborated on stuff before for this very simple reason. She's able to distill really extremely technical subject matter, aka AI and LLM search, into wisdom that is both digestible and easy to implement for you, the business owner. So Devon, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
It's awesome to have you. Here's probably a good jumping off point.
Yeah.
Uh, Explain how SEO has changed over the last 2 to 3 years. What about it is fundamentally the same, and then what's like forever changed?
Yeah. So, how it's changed is the introduction of AI has kind of forced a change in things. And old timey SEO, it used to be about kind of ranking a page and a keyword, and that's how you got found online. And now it's about how Google understands you. So, in order now to rank, Google needs to know who you are in order to rank what you do. And that's a big shift in the way SEOs used to do things versus the way we do them now. Google would rely on backlinks and keyword matching to rank pages. And now Google has to understand the relationship between concepts and in order to rank you. So it's shifted a bit.
It it needs to I think sometimes it's useful for like a caveman brain like me to try to like limp their way through this concept to make it really simple. Is it too simplistic to say that it's more important now that Google knows and understands who you are as a business and what you do and where you're located versus just having a few great pages or a few great blog posts? Like it needs to conceptually kind of get you as a company.
Yes, it used to be like, okay, what do you have on your website? What's on this page? Cool, let's rank it. Now it wants to understand, as you said, your business as a concept and how it's interrelated to every other node or piece of your business online. So are you connected to this BBB profile, this social media profile? Are you mentioned on Nextdoor, not even linked? Do you have a YouTube channel? And it takes this entire footprint to understand who you are, what you do, and where you do it. And that's how Google now views people online and how you rank.
Why has Google opted to go this route? If you can explain kind of their motivations, it might help us understand where this fits in the overall shift right now. Like, what's the purpose of making this change for them?
I think the purpose is with the introduction of AI, it's super easy for anybody to create content. And it's super easy to just roll it out in mass amounts. And so old timey SEO with ranking content, ranking queries. Now Google's like, oh God, am I serving something on this spammy website that actually doesn't offer these services, because that was happening. So there was so much noise and spam that now Google's like, I want to provide their whole goal when you think of Google is to provide the best user experience possible. And so if they're serving these spam results as number one, that's a horrible experience for the user. And that forces people then to maybe switch to a different search engine or turn to AI for answers instead of where Google makes their money, which is on Google. So for them, they're like, okay, now we need to trust the results we're serving. We need to know who the author is. We want to trust that they're an expert. We want to trust that they have geo relevance, topical authority on the thing, on the result that we're serving. So it's AI and like the just the ability and the capabilities of everybody to just mass spread content on the web has forced them to say, wait, we want people to trust the results we give them. So it's kind of shifted into this understanding of a brand versus just matching user search queries.
Google's obviously trying to do the right thing by their user, but they're also trying to keep their business afloat as well. And so this is worth mentioning. Like GPT and AI generated content has created an absolute onslaught of content that every brand can and does create. Much of it is inauthentic, much of it is crap. Google is aware of that. There's kind of a content supply glut, and their tactical move here, so to speak, is to become much more focused on like the trustworthiness of the entity of the company, knowing that it is indeed who they say they are, as a way to sort of cut through the noise and get to the actual signal. Is that fair to say?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so that's I just really want people to get why this is happening and AI's influence on it. Um, Here's what I think most people are thinking, Devin. It's like, man, I barely understood SEO to begin with. I had an agency that I just paid a certain amount to every month to do this for me to get me ranked. I looked at some spreadsheets or I looked at some numbers, but to be honest, I never really understood it that well. I know that I get some calls every month from Google, or in some cases, maybe they have a more sophisticated strategy and it's actually a big part of their business. But I think a lot of people can relate to this feeling where it's like, man, I barely understood this in the first place, and now you're telling me I have to, like, completely throw all that out and relearn it again?
No, you don't have to throw it out. And it's, and part of that, it still comes into play. We don't throw away traditional SEO, but what we're saying now is that it's not relearning it. It's just having consistency for your brand and how much more of a role your brand plays online in order to rank you. So the most technical part of entity SEO or EEO is schema markup. And that part, an agency can help you with. If you have a WordPress site, there's a lot of plugins and they've got some baked in schema solutions for you. So you don't have to really, you don't have to relearn everything. What you need to focus on is your company, who you are, what you do, and where you do it, and saying it consistently over and over again everywhere on the web. It's like doing SEO before you do SEO. You just need to like if you look at your business name, are you a DBA and does your, primary business name show up somewhere versus your DBA? That throws Google's understanding of your entity off. So it's not as technical as it sounds. There's a piece of that, of course, but it's really just clarity and brand consistency, but now what we're understanding is how much that impacts your, SEO efforts. So it's not totally relearning. It's just a little bit of a more of a brand heavy approach.
Okay, so by the way, you had mentioned there's like a pre-SEO readiness checklist that we're gonna attach. So this is what is this, like the homework that you need to do before investing in SEO?
Kind of, yeah, because now it's like do the pre-SEO SEO. Operationally, if you're not ready, um, it has an impact on your SEO. So new timey SEO engagement, right? That's a big deal. How much time we always knew time on a website was important, but now these other factors, such as how many reviews are you getting? So, do you have a system in place for getting reviews? How quickly do you respond to those reviews? Do you respond with, the location plus service in those reviews? Do you have these SOPs in place to make your SEO investment more effective? How quickly do you answer the call? Do you always answer the call when you say during your hours of operation that are listed on your Google business profile? All of these sort of operational things, they now have a massive impact on your SEO and how effective your SEO team is going to be. Because if you miss a call and you consistently miss calls and you don't consistently get reviews and you don't have unique visual assets and there's all of these pieces that will make your investment less effective. And so it would behoove any, company to get some of these things in place because Google will be able to see the disconnect between everything your agency is trying to achieve versus the pieces you control as the owner of the business, like, the engagement, kind of how Google measures engagement on your side of the desk.
Okay. So we will make this will be linked, this checklist. You guys can download it, have a look at it, and just check all the boxes before you make serious investment or mistakes in this. But getting back to this entity SEO piece, Devin, like just set it up for us. Like frame the problem, walk us through some of the solutions. How might a smart business owner be really proactive about this?
Sure. So the problem is a misalignment with your brand and how it's viewed online. So if sometimes I say Devon Hayes landscaping, sometimes I say Devon's landscaping, um, those are viewed as two different entities, and that causes confusion with Google. So sometimes one of those will see that align with like your business name on LinkedIn, and sometimes they do and they don't. So part of the problem is a misunderstanding of large language models, AI, Google, all of them when they see different names for a business, and it could be your business name, it could be the address, it could be the phone number, it could be your website. Um, when there's a disconnect, when there's not uniformity on every single place that the name of your company lives, that's causing a problem for you. So no matter how much you're investing in SEO, you need to like clean all of this up before you start to invest in SEO. So the problem is not you think you have this solution in mind when you hire like an SEO agency, but if you don't have brand clarity, then it's going to be a slow, painful climb with your agency and you're going to get frustrated. So the problem is not having like your brand aligned everywhere online, and your unique selling proposition kind of lays into that too. It goes outside of uniformity of, your company name, address, phone number, that sort of thing. Um, your time on site, like what services do you offer? Does that align with what you have in your Google business profile? The workflow, kind of the layout, the architecture of your site structure, does all of that kind of match what you're telling people offline? Um, Forever ago, we had a roofing company that started doing siding, but that wasn't added as like a Google business profile category. So there's misalignment with some of these signals. So that's kind of the problem, right? Is not having clarity around your brand before you start kind of going down the SEO track. It just leads to frustration, and then it's not, I don't want to say wasted dollars, because a good SEO agency will be guiding you and telling you what you need to do to fix it. But that's like months of time. That's their retainer, when truly in-house, if you have an admin, that person could be cleaning up your profiles before you go kind of down the SEO track. So and what we're seeing as an agency a lot of times is that people really don't have their unique selling proposition figured out before, they want us to start creating content, and they want to be an authority, say around like irrigation, but they don't have any supporting images or video or reviews specifically that talk about that, or a trust badge from, a I don't know, a supplier. So there's all of these things that kind of have to be in place.
Can you explain that idea of a unique selling proposition a little bit, just in case someone's not heard of it? Like I think you and I get it, but let's not breeze past. Like, what does that mean, and why is it important for a landscaper to have that understood and have some content built around it?
Yeah. So your unique selling proposition is just kind of, it's your brand's promise to customers. It's how you do whatever it is you do better or differently than somebody else. It could be how quickly you respond, or your, I don't know, it could be your warranty, or it could be just like the quality of your work and your team, and brag about your team and the experts there. Is your process so that you have, just one person from start to finish? Do you have multiple contacts? Whatever that is that your company, you have figured out that this is what makes customers happy. You just have to frame that succinctly, and that becomes your unique selling proposition. You don't want it to be generic. You don't want to be able to be, matched to every other landscaper on the web, because you're the expert. Like, in your experience, you've learned something along the way that makes you better and different, and there's the reason why people choose you. So whatever that is, saying it succinctly in a statement, making that promise, but then showing that through your website and your and kind of your mixed media.
Yo, if you are interested in the free resource we just mentioned in the conversation, you can download that using the link in the description below. I highly recommend you check it out. These things are packed full of value and will save you a ton of time. If our goal here is to teach um, Google and to some extent large language models who we are and what we do and where we do it, is there anything else that you would say about you've mentioned, like, making sure the name is in the right is the same and consistent everywhere. You've mentioned the importance of brand, but what else is like critical in teaching these systems who we are and what we do so that they can serve us to people when they're looking for us?
A critical component is schema and schema markup. And that is, in the simplest form, just using Google's language to tell Google what you are. So I have an example here that I think I'm going to share my screen because it
Sure.
makes it a little easier. So I think most people would go to, I just did a mock up website here. Okay. So if you look at this, you see Greater Denver's best landscaping. Oh, I forgot the word company there. You get the idea. And then we have 5-star rated landscaping designer, lawn care, and snow removal services. So, all right, good enough, right? But we're not using entity phrasing here. So to Google, it may as well look like this. It can understand, Mandarin, it can figure it out, but it's like, I guess you're using crawl budget, you're taking more time to explain to Google who you are, what you do, and where you do it. So what entity SEO is about is now taking Denver instead of Greater Denver. If you were to look up the proper entity for the place of Denver, it's just the word Denver. Sometimes it's like Minneapolis/St. Paul. It's not always exactly what you think it is. So then we go through, and the phrase here is landscape designer, because in entity language, entity speak, landscaping designer doesn't exist. And then this is, let's see, lawn care, but lawn care isn't an entity. Lawn maintenance is an entity. And then snow and ice management is an entity. But over here I have, what do I have? I have snow removal services. And then I use the wrong company name here. So it is just about, hopefully, does that help kind
Mm-hmm.
of visualize like what I mean by entity? It sounds simple enough, but and I know towards the end of this, we'll kind of do some practical use cases so people can better understand like the entities. But that's what I mean. It's nuanced verbiage on the page as well as kind of how you appear off your website.
Are there other like long-term um upsides to this investment of being proactive? Like, is this just like, hey, Google says we have to do this now, so we have to do this now? Or are there other kind of like knock-on benefits by adopting this more entity SEO approach to brand building, to offer building, to communicating about yourself?
Yes. So this is actually kind of future proofing your business and brand, and not this is not chasing the next like marketing gimmick, the next marketing tactic. This is not that. This is it really is future proofing your business for your online visibility and brand recognition. Um, it is a way to build trust faster with Google, and it creates more authority for you. Google still uses its algorithm update, which, when we say algorithm, that's just the current way Google decides to rank whoever they're going to rank on Google. So The current one is EAT, which is expertise, experience, authority, and trustworthiness. So this entity SEO, it lends itself, it gives you credibility just in all the best ways using robot speak. So that's why it's a little bit faster than just traditional SEO. And when Google understands who you are, what you do, and where you do it using robot speak kind of faster, then you don't have to play the game of, oh gosh, okay, now I need 10,000 backlinks to rank for this word, and I need 100 blogs because they have to match this exact keyword. I need landscaper near me. I need landscape design services near me. I need French drains near me. Like, so you used to go down this rabbit hole of building hundreds of pages of content where you don't need to do that anymore. You can become the topical authority. You still use content to do it, but you just create one like comprehensive guide and then use all these other signals to support what you've done. So it really is it's not just a, kind of slap it on there and call it, the latest marketing craze. It's really it's AI is not going anywhere. You're going to be speaking the, large language model speak, the LLM speak. And then this just you can build on this foundation with any other marketing tactic or strategy. You can build on it for paid media, GLSA, more traditional SEO, content building, video, like everything you do, this is the foundation for it.
You keep using Google as the main like term, and I think for now and at least the short term future, they are still category kings in terms of owning search. But there's a mounting chorus of conversation around like they've sort of lost their stranglehold on the search business. And does every so my question is, a lot of people are typing into their ChatGPT window or into their Grok window or into Perplexity or whatever, the thing that they would have put into the Google search bar 2 or 3 years ago. That's already happening. Is it the case that everything when you talk about future proofing, is it the case that everything you've talked about also sets us up for the ChatGPT searcher or the other LLM provider searcher?
Yes, yes. So Google's LLM. I mean, that's an LLM, but yes, ChatGPT, that's another LLM. So it's all same thing. And th- so yeah, I'm talking about every kind of form of AI too when we're talking about large language models. But actually, what happened with Google last year is they grew. Everyone thought that they would shrink because of the introduction of like AI, but people's searches got to be on average 7 words longer. So they would go from Google to ChatGPT, then ChatGPT back to Google with a longer phrase a lot of times. So they actually saw a crazy amount of growth. But I think more and more now ChatGPT, it's evolved and it's citing sources. When it first rolled out, it didn't. And so everything that you're doing with like your schema markup on your website, that lends itself to appearing in AI.
In
So
any of the models, like,
any of them.
yeah, that's what I wanted you to say. It's like
Yeah.
this is a good investment because it's not only setting you up well for Google and Gemini, it also is gonna set you up well for the 5 or 6 other kind of main model providers, which is where all the searches are gonna proliferate to over the coming years. You mentioned Google Local Services ads. Can you just talk a little bit about that and sort of how important that is to this change? What are they? How do we I think most of our listeners will be using them to some degree, but they
Yeah.
might not be using them optimally, and then there might be another cohort who isn't on them yet at all. So, Google
Yeah,
LSAs.
sure. So what we'll say is, Google is plays it pretty, close to the cuff when it tells us about ranking and why you rank where and how you get your GLSA calls and when you don't. But what we do know is that how entity SEO impacts GLSA is that engagement metric of answering the phone, right? Those are your paid ads. And if you get a phone call from GLSA and it's during your posted business hours and you don't answer it, you're taking away trust and you're taking away engagement. And so now because entity SEO is looking at your entire online footprint, not just one page with one keyword that you're trying to rank on that page. Now it's impacting your whole ecosphere of your online presence. So it's like even mentions on like Facebook, YouTube, like everywhere. Every brand or entity, same thing, the way, for the purposes of this conversation, um, everywhere you're mentioned, whether that's linked or not linked, every place you have a profile, and especially if it's a Google product, how you interact with that product and your response time, that all impacts your positioning, and your visibility.
Cool. So if you were to like give someone a roadmap, a checklist, hey, I'm interested in entity SEO. Everything that you're saying makes sense. I want to be proactive about this. I see the way things are going. I really want to take this seriously.
Yeah.
And I want you to speak like to the like let's be reasonable. Like most business owners are not and should not be doing highly technical stuff when it comes to their SEO. They should be building a company, they should be running strategy, they should be hiring people. Like this is something that you and I are very aligned on. It would be not a good investment of an entrepreneur's time to become a hardcore SEO nerd. They should know enough to be deadly, but beyond that, this should be subbed out. This should be contracted out. They should be working with an agency. And so I use that frame to say we don't need to give them every single like to the letter rule of how to do this, but more so coach someone how they might begin to get ready, begin to work with their agency to move in this direction. Like what is the entity SEO starter pack for our landscapers listening?
Yes. Okay. So, um, the first thing I would do, have the name that you want to go by, your company name, address, phone number, and your primary URL. Have that, flushed out. And then the next thing you can do, is Google yourself, Google your business, and just take a look at, is everything consistent? Yes or no? Do you have an X account? I don't care if you're going to post to X or not. Most of us, I mean, there's so many social media platforms, but do you own it? That's another place for your brand to live, and you own the space. Should you ever want to, you can. No one can hijack it. But grab all those profiles, and not only grab them, but link them in the footer of your website. Look at your website right now. We used to, old timey SEO, we didn't want to send link juice to your social media platforms. Those guys had enough, link equity. But now, in the age of entity SEO, you want to show Google, hey, that's me, 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 over and over again. So that's a really simple thing. So business owners, make sure let your marketing person know your preferred company name, address, phone number, URL, for your website. Get those social icons in the footer of your website. The next big thing that I see a big miss on, and there's a huge SEO opportunity, is your About Us page. Entity SEO, Google really looks at that About page. So if you kind of just slapped it together, um,
Or didn't do it at all because like, I feel like this is also another conversation. I have
yeah,
heard and I have said I'm like, I built a website last year and I was like, people don't read the About Us pages, just make it really, really quick and dirty, which we did, and that might have been a mistake. They care Google cares about the About Us page.
they do care, and this is what's crazy. So our own data set internally, we run tests and do studies all the time for every, and barring that, it's only our own data set, right? But we had a 66% increase across to visits to the About Us page for every single client, and all of our clients are in the home services industry. So 23 versus 24 data, a 66% increase. So that tells us people, they want to know who they're working with now. They want to trust you, because it's not about just getting 100 bids. They actually care about who's behind the screen. So I think that was our takeaway, is that, it's nuanced because it's our own data set, and we definitely had an emphasis on the About Us pages in 24. We're like, we know we need to do this. It needs to be, and not about us as a company, but about us as in, here's how we solve your problem. That's what you talk about on your About Us page. But the About Us page is a huge signal for entity SEO. So if, as a business owner, you have kind of just thought nobody cares, Google cares, and we've found that people actually do care. And beyond just like the concept of the About Us page, something tactical you can do is add the LinkedIn icon. Add your team members and add the LinkedIn icon for each of those team members, because what we learned now, gosh, when was the Google leak? This was, I think, last 2 Mays ago, maybe now. But in any case, it still stands and remains the same. Um, the people that you are personally connected to, or your employees are connected to, or the companies they follow inside of LinkedIn send a signal about your authority and your trust and your experience within the industry that you work in. So if somebody doesn't have a LinkedIn profile and you tell them to start one, I mean, okay, they can connect that person to your brand. But you as the owner, any like C-suite people or like the executives, adding that LinkedIn icon and definitely adding people if they're not on the About Us page, and linking back to it is a huge entity SEO signal.
Is
And
LinkedIn important? Like, that's a good question right there. Like, is having a LinkedIn presence important for executives and C-suites and like people on the team? Like, if I'm a $5 million landscaping team and I've got a sales leader and I've got a production leader, and these are serious people who I know are committed to the long-term mission. Like, this is a more mature business. Do I need to be like emphatic about a LinkedIn strategy for them so that there's presence on that platform?
it's about it depends. Whoever posts your blog content, right? That should be someone connected to your About Us page. And that person, hopefully, is connected to a lot of other landscaping people. They follow other, like, I don't know, important landscaping groups and contractors and all of that. That is all part of your entire digital footprint. So if you're the owner of a landscaping company and I can find that information online at the Secretary of State, if I search your business name and your name's there, yeah, you should, because you're associated with that business. So it will make you an authority. You're linking the two entities and you're showing the relationship to Google. You're like, yeah, this is me. This is me. Google checks it, more trust, more visibility. So it's huge. Do you have to be posting every day and doing sales? No, but having your company name there, your years in business, and following some other important landscaping groups and publications and things like that, sure. But you don't have to be a thought leader. Just stake your claim on the platform.
I see. You're kind of making the case, like, I hear this theme through what you're saying is like you got to go out there and like own your space or buy your land is like almost more important than the thought leadership or the posting every day. That can come, I mean, that is important too for different reasons. But when it comes to entity SEO, what really matters is that you own the tags and the URLs and the spaces that people might look for you in. Own the name on LinkedIn, own the name on social, on X, your URL, etcetera.
Yeah, and you're just saying, hey, this is me. This is me now. Engagement is great. Mentions of your brand on those platforms, that's great. But yes, owning it and saying, yeah, yeah, it's me. Hey, here, hi.
Now, you, have mentioned to me a couple times this is a little more technical, but a again, explain it simply, like, you talk about aligning your primary, Google business profile with Wiki or with Wikipedia, and I don't quite get that connection of why these 2 things are so connected.
I know. So, okay. Um, Google's large language model was actually based off of every entry in Wikipedia is an entity. So that is how Google came up with like their Google business profile categories. That is largely what their LLM is based off of. So if you can use the entities that are in Wikipedia and align that with like your Google business profile category and making sure you're using the same language that's used in Wikipedia, that's kind of part of entity SEO, part of the piece that you can actually see like on a website. So we kind of jumped into that example, but um if you have any question about it, if you just Google like wiki and landscaper, you'll be sent to not a Wikipedia entry that says landscaping. It'll say, no, it won't say landscaper. Let me see. You want to do this in real
Sure.
time? This is how you do it. So you're a business owner and you're like, hey, I wonder if I'm using the right Wikipedia language. So we would just go shortcut, just go wiki landscaper. and you'll see what comes up is actually the phrase landscaping. So then we look at landscaping, we're like, oh, is that my entity? No, because this is talking about the actual like elements, and plants and all of that good stuff. So we're like, okay, let's try again. Landscape design. Aha. This would be your official entity that you want to use on your website. So
Uh-huh. The
so that
words really matter.
they really do. They really do. And then when you are trying to become an authority, you just look at the phrases that are used here. And then that's one way. There's a whole bunch of you can like nerd out with this, but um you can start to understand, let's see, I think there's categories down here. These are other things you can look at if landscape design doesn't align, but I think this is the exact category and in your Google business profile as well. I think that's what they list there. But this is what I mean. It's not as simple as what you think it is. It's so just do a wiki search and you'll get there. And like lawn care, I think if you go lawn care, it doesn't that's not the entity. It says lawn. Um so you're like, all right, let me try lawn care. Oh, I
The
did
point
this.
is you're just trying to match up the words that you use as descriptors on your website to the same buckets that Google used when they designed the LLM in the first place. Just go upstream and make it easier for yourself.
And you don't have to do it on every single page. If you
Yeah.
have like a location landing page that's like Denver. It's like devonslandscaping.com/Denver. Then use the entity on that page. You don't have to put it in there a million times. You could put it in just the footer of your website if you just have that one primary service. You don't, it's not, the idea is not to spam Google with it. It'll see it once and be like, oh, I got you. I
Yep.
got you.
Got
So
it. What else is on the starter pack?
okay, starter pack. I hate to do this, but this one you gotta check. Schema is the biggest thing. It's critical, 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 and I hate talking about overly technical things, but, this one's pretty easy in terms of how you check it. We'll have this link in the show notes here, but if you I'm gonna share my screen again. This is a way to know, can I show up in the people also ask section? Can I show up in the AI summary? Can I show up in that knowledge panel that's sometimes to the right? All of the real estate and those little boxes that are all over Google that are not the blue links below, that's all from schema. So you have to have it on your site in order to kind of get those like the higher real estate and the better real estate.
What is the definition of schema just in layman's terms?
Schema is it's structured data. It's basically like the ingredients for a recipe at the top of the card. So you're going to need all of this, and then, the instructions below tell you how to make it. Robots don't really care. They just are like, give me the entity
Right.
in schema speak. Make it,
Okay.
give me a shortcut. So we'll have this in the show notes. But it would be a huge miss to like not mention this portion of it. But as a business owner, you don't need to get an MBA in marketing. You can go to this validator.schema.org. Again, we'll just put it in the show notes, and then these guys I know have it. But you run a test, and if you have schema markup or structured data, there's different types. All of these are types right here. You want to make sure you have a local business type and that you have everything. And this can be done. You have your hours. This is just robot speak here. This you guys don't need to worry about that. The important part is, do you have it on your site? And that's how you check.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah. See,
Um,
I did not too painful on the tech speak.
no, it's keep it in the shallow end. What um what role do reviews play in this? Can you talk a little bit about testimonials, people when you finished a project, the importance of having a customer type something up in Google and hit submit? What role to in entity SEO does that play?
A huge role. It counts as an engagement signal and it counts as a trust signal. And if you can coach your reviewers to use Service Plus location as they review you with an image, I mean, that's even better.
Why is that important?
Um, because Google is reading through the words on the review as well. So that's just another signal. So if they say, Blaine, like Minnesota, and they use Blaine in there, now Google, that's another like, oh, geo relevance, geo relevance, geo relevance. The more geo signals it gets, the more it reinforces where you do what you do.
So that's a really practical point. When you're asking homeowners to give you reviews, which most of you are, or you certainly should be, it's not just, hey, can you give us a review? It's, what did you say? It's, can you give us a review? Mention the location,
And the
the
service.
the service,
Mhm.
and even if possible, a picture.
A picture, yeah, and gold star if they also mention your brand name too in there. I mean, make it rain.
Yeah. Okay. So
We've had
that's like a 10 out of 10 review.
mhm,
Location, service, picture, and mention our company by name.
mhm, and then for the company, the landscape company to get a gold star review within, like or respond within 2 minutes thanking them for their French drain or choosing them to, install a French drain in Blaine, Minnesota. We know you have your choice in landscape design contractors, and we're so happy you chose, um, Devon Hayes Landscaping.
Yeah. Got you.
So that's huge. But they play a big role because it's a big trust signal, and the engagement and the back and forth between you and the customer, that's noted for 18 months. Google stores all of that information, so it's huge.
Cool. Anything else on the starter pack, or do we hit it all?
One more thing, critical, annoying. You guys are gonna hate it. BBB. You have to join. It is a massive trust signal
To Google.
for yes, for entity SEO. It looks to the BBB for trusted contractors. I know it's expensive. I know
It's like the biggest racket of all time.
it it
It
it is.
is.
It
It's just
is
subject you, but it, I mean, I mean, the Google gods have decided to use that as a trust factor. We have to play that game. I'm just kinda
sort of,
calling a
and
spade a
there's
spade.
accredited versus unaccredited, right? And so you have less options. You can't connect like your Google business profile if you're unaccredited. They kind of limit you on the connections you can make in helping make the picture. But I- if if you recently went through a rebrand, launched a new website, changed your business name, added like landscaping and lawn care to it, and it was just landscaping before, you've kind of nuked your trust stack. If you had a physical change of address, if you have nuked your trust stack with Google in any way, and then I would say please buy the accreditation at least for the year while you build your trust again,
Okay,
please.
so we do
And
need
I
to do
know
it.
I should get kickbacks or something. I just hate that I know about the relationship between Google and the BBB. So, I'm sorry.
You should get a cut. Here's a good question to kinda, like, wind things down on, Devin. It's like, a lot of business owners struggle to find the right agencies or the right partners to work with. And I'm wondering if you just in general have advice to help landscapers filter out the jokers. And there's a lot of jokers in the agency world versus like deeply qualified, true partners. Like, what are the questions they should be asking? What type of credentials should they be looking for? What maybe seems like it matters, but it actually doesn't. Like, if you could give someone some coaching on how to select better agencies, either for SEO or just in general, I feel like this is such a slept on skill set that entrepreneurs need and very few have.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is to understand that the best agency it's a partnership and not a check. If you're sold kind of a service and not the idea of a partnership from the jump, like it's kind of a red flag because when someone comes to me and they're like, I want to hire you for SEO, I'm like, well, how do you know SEO is what you need? You just think you're solution aware, but what's the problem? What's the symptom? So is someone taking the time to ask you kind of those qualifying questions? Like, I guess I would start there. Um, because yeah, that's kind of a miss. So looking for a partnership is huge. And then what's hard as an agency owner is this. I know I've seen so much messiness out there. Obviously, owning your assets is huge. I think the biggest problem is thinking that you can write a check and step out and then you're going to be okay. Any agency that says that and isn't asking, like, isn't telling you we're going to have content interviews, we need images from you, what are you doing for video? All of these things, they're huge. And if they're not asking you questions about your business and learning about your business before sending off a proposal, and they just kind of have like here, this is what we do. Here's how reporting works, and this is the cost. Like, that's not, I don't think you're going to be happy. Um,
You think that when agencies promise you kind of a completely hands-free, hassle-free, done-for-you experience where we'll just deliver this magical result without your involvement, that should actually be a red flag.
yeah.
That's just not reality.
In my experience, like, the best like, we can do it. We have clients that like that. They're like, "I really wanna do this, but I'm sorry, I'm so busy, I can't." I mean, we have the deliverables, we have the reporting, but the clients that truly make time and it's a partnership, they have the best results by far and away because
Mhm.
it's you have a partnership. The agency's learning about your business. What's changing? What are your customers doing? We have contractors that are like, thanks, we're getting all the leads, but now they're slow to convert. So now what do we do? How do we pivot? Tell us what to do. And instead of us being like, well, our deliverables are met. We're done. Like that's not you're not going to be happy. So I think the broader idea is, are you ready for that partnership? Do you have a dedicated person in-house that can work with them? Because we ask for a lot. We need images. Are you doing video? Like, we'll help write scripts, but who's there on the ground with you? And I I think just looking at it as a partnership versus just writing a check and calling it a day is huge. And we have a checklist that of things you can ask, and that's. But I think my biggest advice would be look for a partnership,
Mhm.
not, just writing a check and calling it a day.
Um, if people want to partner with you, what is the best way to connect with you guys? Give us kind of like your digital footprint. If someone is interested in taking this entity SEO conversation or anything else, marketing related more seriously with you guys, where can they reach out?
Yeah, thank you. If you go to our website, elevmarketing.com, we've got a chat bot that is amazing. And you can just mention that you saw me on this podcast. And we've got a free 30-minute online visibility assessment for you. So we'll walk you through it and spend some time with you and give you some takeaways. So go check that out. And because our chatbot's name is Adrian, definitely say "Yo, Adrian," and you'll get a fun little surprise.
Awesome. I will go do that as soon as we sign off here. Thank you so much for the time, Devin. I really appreciate the walkthrough of this stuff. Certainly an evolving conversation. I don't think one that's finished yet, and something that I think all business owners need to keep close tabs on. So, thank you for leading the way on this. Really appreciate the time and the thoughtfulness.
Thank you so much for having me.